Hello, everyone. It's 2 p.m. It's started frame one time. Woo. Hello out there on this Friday. I'm getting on my naughty gloves and getting ready. How is everybody doing? Yeah. I think tentacle is clicking like it should be. There you go. All right. So, let's see. We're here in Greta, the software of our choice for this animation today and the last ones we did so far in the stream. And we have this scene from what you may have seen on my social media is a part of a very short, tiny short film. What we get so far. This is the first take, and we already did some cleanup. We did the outline here in our character, fill the hard shadows, and we started with this highlight layer where we gonna continue today. And I wasn't able to continue where we stopped last time. So last time we did this image. This was our last cleanup. Let's first do a little warm-up. Warm-ups are good. Warm-ups are relaxing. And I haven't been drawing characters for quite some time now, a few days. Lately I don't find that much time that I used to. And yeah, I've been studying a little bit with the anatomy, but yeah, didn't find the time lately to draw. And we are already quite some time spending quite some time with the animation we're gonna continue today. So this is always, and why I tend to do when I do free projects. Normally, I tend to do short ones because then you can switch different styles, different stuff. Like, well, you could argue and say I could also plan some longer format, just not to do only loops all the time. And what I was thinking the other day, like I now have a quite a few characters together that gathered during the last 3 years on my hard drive. And I thought it's a shame that I only spent one animation on on a character, and then the character disappears in a drawer and never comes out again, like in those folders. And sometimes you use them again for a show reel or something like that. But I thought, why not spend a little bit more time and like bring those characters maybe together um, in a jolly, weird world or scene or a scenario that may go on for a few takes instead of just having one image, one loop. And that's, I think, why this project came to life, because it started off with a character illustration, and actually it was a frontal view on that character, and then it evolved. And I also like that when when you when you go with a certain thing but still keep your mind open for whatever could happen on throughout the journey. And I feel like always I love the moment when you switch to the cleanup process, because then suddenly you spend already a lot of time on the rough uh, draft of the animation, and you already go more into detail, and you get this suddenly, after working quite roughly, have this different kind of routine where you have to concentrate quite a lot. I feel like it activates different parts of your brain each step throughout the 2D animation process. But then there's always this moment throughout the cleanup process, because it's so repetitive to do all over again, because you basically just execute. You don't think too much anymore. You just work. And I always feel like after a while it's like I'm feeling, oh man, I need to jump into the next thing, which is cool, because then you finish piece and you basically enjoy closely every part of the process. But then you kind of are super motivated to jump into the next thing, and you're happy that this. I'm not the kind of person that wants to open the same project every year and change something that is not perfect when you left it the last time, and you want to like refine the same project over and over again, um, throughout your journey, where you hone your skills and see old stuff which doesn't look too cool. But I think that's that's the idea. I like to look at older stuff and see from now where my mistakes were compared to back then. I saw it and I thought, oh man, that is great. And not to say that I always finish a project and say, oh, this is so great. Always see the my own limitations within the result, but I always try to push my skills as far as possible. But obviously, there's always room that maybe at that point of time with your skill set you're not able to achieve yet. That makes sense. So that's why you have to continue learn to continue to learn, and then afterwards apply the new learned stuff to a new project, and not the same, and not the one that you already finished. Now you want to polish all over again with your new skill set. But that's me. I'm always happy when I finish a project, and I tend to maybe finish them a little bit too early. Should revise. But then again, I feel like better finished than perfect. That sounds very bad, but I think it's, especially with client work, the only way that you can guarantee to deliver, because there's always room for perfection, but you have your limitations, you have your restrictions, right? Okay, blah blah blah. Okay, let's do one character just to haven't to not lose the spirit. So let me see. I want to go with our 3 geometric shapes. Okay, go with a ball. And a mm, and what else? Could get in a kind of a cone. I already draw in like some indications for the perspective. This is our center line. Okay. So those are the geometric shapes, and now we are free to discover the options within those 3 shapes. All right. Let's bring our eye line here. Let's see if I can bring in my new learn to know skills. I'm still working on them, but I'm doing this class right now from Alan Blaze, which is super awesome. He's a former Disney animator, and you can check out his classes and courses on creatureartteacher.com. And so I purchased a few of his classes a few days or a few weeks already back, and they were very 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 cheap, to be honest. Like, you watch a former Disney animator, how he draws, he tells you his secrets for $24, which is insane. And what I watched was I purchased a class on human anatomy where he covers quite a lot of stuff, and one chapter is the nose. So I was studying the nose the last time, and it is pretty interesting, to be honest. I don't know what this head is gonna look like. Yeah. Huh. A little bit short down here. I don't know where to put the mouth. Now let's bring the hairline even further up there. So we stay with our with those geometric shapes. We keep him like this egg shaped head. So if we go with our geometric shapes, this is already like the chin. I don't know how we handle. He needs a very small mouth. Very. Still have to do the mouth the mouth tutorial. So then here comes. So we're looking down. That one looks weird, but Actually, it's pretty cool to do characters again after such a long. Well, it wasn't that long time, but as I said, it's been like a week or something like that, and I start to miss it already. Like, drawing characters is just super fun. Hey Sean, how are you? And happy wow, man relay. Hi. Do you know? Is it a happy man relay? Um, I'm good, you all. Thank you. How are you, everybody? Thanks for joining today. Happy Man Relay, I haven't seen you on the channel so far. Are you new? Super cool. You stopped by. Thanks a lot. So for you guys who just joined, I decided today to continue with our animation that we did last time, which was the cleanup of this one here. And as I have been working on that one quite some time and hadn't find the time to draw a lot, I've besides work, I missed character design, so I decided to do some warm up, and here we are so far. Do I watch any cartoons? Oh man, not frequently, to be honest. The last cartoon, if you want, has been, it's not really a cartoon, an animated series. It has been Primal. What cartoons are you, what cartoons do you guys watch? I've been, I don't know, I'm not too much into the cartoons. I have my cartoon focus has shifted as I have a small son, and I now go more into the kind of children cartoons, I suppose. Yeah, but if you haven't, Your Little Pony, all right. I've watched that these days. Well, not actively to be honest, but yeah, it was on our tele these days. But if you are, I think you have to be. You should be over 18. I don't know what the age for Primal is, but it's pretty brutal to be honest. The animation is super awesome. It's all 2D and without any dialogue. Everything is every emotion and everything is handled throughout within the, well, every communication is handled with emotions and all that stuff. Okay, you're over 18. No, I didn't talk about you. I just wanted to tell, like, it's very super, like, violent, the Primal, and it's basically just this this guy, this who teams up with a dinosaur, which seems weird, but they did it quite. The story is quite good. Like, they lost their family to a attack of a very brutal dinosaur crew, if you want, and so they bond. And it's pretty. It sounds weird, but it is awesome. And I tell you, the animation is super. Okay, now how far do we get this character? Because I don't want to get lost in. Although I enjoy it, I feel like we have to continue with the cleanup. So I'll leave it like that. So warmed up we are. Okay. Yeah, but the cartoons, there's gonna be new Animaniacs, I think. Are they gonna be on Netflix? That's something I thought I'm kind of looking forward to. And the guy who did Primal also is the creator of Samurai Jack, and I I haven't heard about Samurai Jack, although it's quite some. I don't know when they started. So anybody watching, knowing Samurai Jack, hearing me, I don't know Samurai Jack. Be um, that may seem strange to you because I heard it's quite famous. So that was also pretty cool cartoon that I started, but haven't seen an episode in quite some time. Okay. So we are on the right layer, everything's fine, so we switch into full screen mode. Okay, last time when we finished, it was already quite easy. Like I was already within the routine to know where to place all the where to paint in, to draw in the highlights. So I have to first get back in, get a feeling again for it. Oh. Actually, I want him to consider all layers, sample all layers, so we can use the outlines. So, seems that this is not really working. You see, like, there are no gaps. There shouldn't be any gap. Here I have the dark outline. Here's the outline. I'm drawing in this line to separate, and then still okay. I have to do some extra work. Oh boy, and I found, I don't know if you guys know this. If you know this guy, I tweeted his work, and I haven't heard of him. He has a company that is called Klaus Studio, I think they're called. And he posted some awesome style frames that he did for I think it's a computer game. I'm not really in computer games, but I think it's called, let me see, Outriders. And holy shoot, are they looking awesome? And I'm gonna try to share them with you here. Look at those awesome style frames. So Justin Harder at Klaus Studios. And I thought it would be super cool to make some animations with that stuff. She looks super complex, and I haven't, like, I don't really know what to animate here. But I super love the style. It's amazing. I saw his work and I just fell in love with it. Yeah, that's one thing where I thought maybe that could be a cool thing to do in next streams, future streams, so to say. Oh, confused. So this probably like so. Everything here is in highlights because the light source is coming from the top. See if we covered. No. See, after doing this stuff for days and days of cleaning up, well, days and days not, but hours and hours, there's definitely accumulating like motivation to jump into the next project already. The cleanup process is you have to love it. What are the things you hate most on your? Well, I don't hate cleanup, but what are the parts of your work that gets you mostly bummed out, like to very be boring or you don't look forward at all? Sebas Motion is back. Hello, how are you? I'm pretty good, thank you. It's Friday, weekend is coming, so that is always a treat. Okay, and okay, new keyframe, and we have and we do it all over again. Okay, Jean says the thing that bums him out the most during the process of a project is perspective background. Yeah, that's one one thing we had to come across as well for this project here. As you, when you followed, you know that I struggled quite a lot with the perspective of this shot, and yeah, but I think it's normal that there's always a part that you don't enjoy as much. Like, could you enjoy everything throughout the project equally? I suppose there's always preferences, and always stuff you're not so psyched about, but you have to do because it has to get done. I know. All right, Devas. Yeah, thanks for coming back. I haven't seen you in quite some time here. Um, so you saw the Instagram post. Yeah, I felt like I needed to post a little teaser of that project. And the idea was basically when I did the background for this shot, and I started to animate it in After Effects, I felt like it's a pretty sweet shot with the perspective that took so long to figure out. And I kind of like those illustration loops where it seems like it's just a beautiful image, but there's some subtle movement in there. So I thought, wow, this take definitely is worth a still life. I don't know if are they called still lives? But people don't respond to it as they do if they see character animations. I figured, like the the feedback. Well, if you count on likes and all that crap. But it's interesting. I also think I messed up the hashtags on that one. There's whole science to it apparently. And another one. So mm. So here actually it shifts a little bit where the light comes from, and here we should already get some kind of a shadow, I suppose. There's a gap again. I started to do this to separate the stuff I want to fill and figure out where at which location there is this gap. So it's here. Okay. Here we go. Looks weird. Kind of feel like we need more light here. Maybe still yet not light here. So anybody working on something new lately? Is there something you try to improve? Work on any specific skill? Maybe we can share resources. I mentioned it quite a lot already that I'm lately into to study anatomy for the drawing, for animation purposes and drawing purposes. And we'll definitely, after this project, have a closer look as well to the whole thing with perspective. Because after all, it's pretty cool that you like, this is a thing that you can do with animation and illustrations to create this super weird perspective, right? Because you don't have a camera or something like that really has to respond to actual physics, like, and that is pretty cool. So maybe with improved skill on perspective, I'm able to push that a little bit further. And a not too long back, when I started the stream, actually, I wanted to go more into hand-drawn lettering for the illustrations part of the animation, but didn't have the right ideas, I suppose. Maybe for that one as well. I'm still not completely convinced how my already announced super tiny short movie is gonna end actually. That is quite irresponsible to tease a little clip that is not done yet, not finished yet. But my plan is definitely to bring in some typography for the end, and maybe I can hand letter it. Which is something I find very interesting. I've never been a very big how do you say, not really been into typography, never. I felt like I don't understand it. But I got hooked on a few illustrators that do hand lettering, and I started to find this pretty cool. And doing hand lettering is also, like as I said at the beginning of the stream, like the whole process within the 2D animation, where you do first very rough ideas, sketches, then you go more and more into detail until you have this cleanup process where you have to do like very defined lines, and it feels like each step of the process requires or activates a different part in your brain, because when you do those outlines you have to concentrate quite a lot. It's kind of tense, I don't know, that's at least what I feel. And drawing type has it's comparable, but it has its own thing, as it's more what can be organic lines. It's just another object that you draw. It's not a character or a scene. It's basically this geometric shape, which it doesn't really have to be geometric. I don't know what I want to say, but drawing letters is fun, kind of fun, yeah. What is def training, Sean? I don't know if I have no idea what that is. But you're busy. That's good. During that weird times, it's very important to be busy. At least that was what I feel. Keep the mind busy. So, here's basically everything lit until oh, why are we on the wrong layer? Why do the nibbles disappear? Shouldn't they be on another layer? should be here. There are no nipples. So let's change this. Ooh. If we've been drawing on the wrong, I've been drawing on the wrong layer again. It happens too often. Anybody here using Grita? Is there any what is your favorite thing on the app? Maybe there are things that I need to know. I haven't tried it yet. Although you say it's super fun to do it. And there's no way like Grita does it. I like it that you have like different super cool shortcuts, like with shift and just dragging you can increase and decrease the diameter of your brush. That is super helpful. And on the Mac, you at least you have like, what do you need? Control Alt to do it. But on the PC, for example, I haven't found any key combination shortcuts to get this done in Photoshop, for example. To just by dragging to increase or decrease the diameter. Oh, you started as an application developer. Nice. Okay. Well, that's at least you're creating something, I suppose. Although it's a formation, right? So yeah, you're busy. I can imagine. I think it's cool that you learn new stuff. I actually like it when you start to. I think like the very big last thing that I started to learn was actually frame by frame animation, but it's always cool to have this project where you get a lot of effort in it and then dedicate a lot of time to it. So I learned when I learned the guitar or learn a different language or something like that. It's keeps your mind fresh. You get this long term goals that cannot be accomplished within one day or a short period of time. You from the beginning know like it needs time. I think that's always easier if you accept the fact that certain things, there's no shortcut and you have to put the effort in it. It's always way more rewarding. I think so. Oh. really here guessing a lot. I'm always thinking about right here should be the shoulder. But yeah. Try to bring in as much anatomy knowledge as possible, but at least we have a stylized character, so there's no need for perfection in every detail. All right, so this is, we're good here. The color changes. What the fudge? Why is that? Starts here. Okay, so this looks, to me, it looks better than. No, let's go with this color, and then we can turn down opacity to get a slightly darker color. So if you know Greta and you know a better way to do it, please let me know. But I want to color now everything here, and the only thing that occurs to me is blocking the alpha, get like a badass thick brush and just draw over it. But as I said, like if you know any other solution to this, please. Okay, now everything is on the same color. Okay, now we could bring in the specular. All right, yeah. I think that's a pretty good point, John. He says he wants to keep illustration on the side as a passion, because he's afraid he's getting bored of illustration if he does it as a main job. Yeah, I can relate to that. Super relate to that. And I would consider myself as somebody who gets quite easily bored on a job, which is always has been a reason why I liked the format of motion graphics, because there's no feature motion graphics project. It's just a few minutes. Although this already can take quite some time, weeks, months, maybe. And then you're good with that. Like you need something new. But I feel, because if the illustration part, even if it's not animation, is only a part of it, and I always feel like there's an anticipation to the illustration part, because you first have to, if it's client work, you have to talk to your client, you have to ask questions, you have to get right brief, and you have to understand first a lot of things before you actually do the illustration. So there's a lot of preparation, concept, and research going on before you actually do your illustration. And for me, always when you did that first steps and you worked on all that, gather your information, I'm already super hot to get started to get started with the illustration. And each illustration, it depends, I suppose. But if you're kind of jack of all trades and don't have a too specific style, you can always tweak a little bit and experiment with certain stuff to keep it fun. And I've been freelancing now for 4 years, and this is something I. There's always points where you get tired of a specific thing, but I always feel like this stuff like mixes up quite quite a lot. So even those parts like doing over and over cleanup, you forget about them because until you get again to that step, you had so much other things going on that you actually start to enjoy again what you finished to not liking too much. Like now, I wouldn't like to get a new project from another animator and continue directly with more cleanup because that would be kind of, yeah. Can't imagine like you do this for a long time, you get pretty bored. But I understand it. It's like people that like cooking, so they learn, they want to get a professional cook, and then they never cook again at home because they have to do it all the time at home, at work. And I think that may apply as well when you work in house because then you have your depends how flexible the company is you're working in, like the kind of projects they take on. But if you're very specialized for a certain niche that you produce videos only for that certain niche, and you do that over and over again, it can get quite repetitive and maybe boring as well. And after doing that 8 hours, you're not really into getting home and do other stuff. And that's why I think freelancing is pretty cool because you have, well, I'm fortunate enough to have those down times with that where I between client projects where I can do this personal stuff and really get out everything that's in there and needs to be created freely without any restrictions. So that's I think it's the biggest thing for me on freelancing, to have this free time where you can experiment new stuff and attract new clients with that new stuff. I don't know. If you don't do stuff, people won't come and ask you to do it. Like they need to see it first in order to pay you afterwards and repeat. But yeah, Sean, I totally can understand what your fear, and I had I had the same thoughts, and thing is, yeah, you really have to. In my case, I think I'm very grateful that that I'm able to do this for a living. So even if there's a shittier part of it and whatever, like you always have to think like it's insane that that I'm allowed to do this for a living, which doesn't mean that you should like undersell your service just because of gratefulness. I do it for free. That's not working. And I think as long as you can keep this gratefulness up, which is not every day because there's always a moment where you just think like, you know, yeah, but yeah, be just happy with what you do. And if application development is the thing you're passionate about, just go for it. That's awesome. And who knows? I don't know how maybe later on your two passions will cross their paths. So always like drawing. Never thought about animating drawings. Then I did motion graphics, and then 6 years later, I figured out I can combine those and make hand-drawn animation. So I think it's cool to discover and new stuff and not not limiting yourself to within that box. I think there are a lot of passions that can always be combined. I totally get it, John. Yeah. It took me quite some time to get freelance because I always felt like it's not. It's a scary thing as well, and you always have your doubts and your like wanting to um, at least I do have this to want to perfectionize everything. And yeah, don't you have to rush. So now let's continue with the specular. Is this not to get a little bit this? Maybe we get why not? We get some pressure sensitivity. And this one. It's actually wrong. So let's get rid of this. As we change the view of those highlights, we also have to check our specular lights again. I think this is already good. Okay, here we go. No speculars yet. I think I want to go quite quick and loose. Just gonna see where our highlight areas hit outline or less lighted lit surface, and then bring in kind of a little stroke. That's it. That's good. So now look, this stroke here, this is something that I wouldn't have considered to put a stroke in here, but as I learned now where the shoulder muscle, how it's going, that stroke makes sense. So I'm just fascinated how this super detailed anatomy drawings are helpful for such stylized characters as well. Just on a so much simpler scale, but they definitely make a lot of difference. And once you define the areas where you want to draw on, after one or two drawings, it's getting kind of already repetitive and can go through it quite quickly, I would say. So now you see here with that shadow and this highlight, you clearly define this shoulder muscle here. Which I have to learn the name so I can now geek out with weird muscle names on cocktail parties. I'd love to have a situation where I just pick some hors d'oeuvre on a cocktail party and you're pretty, you really have some nice spectros or whatever they're called. Douchebag. Very loose job in here. Look at that. Maybe it doesn't matter. We're gonna see. He is really shiny. He's oily. You don't go that up that tower without preparing with some cocoa oil. If you do the show, you go all in. But I really like it. Like this, just this little specular lights, they give it a whole other level of perspective and volume. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I finally got a new screen protector for my iPad. I bought a paper-like protector, screen protector, and it is super awesome. I always liked the. I bought the iPad just as everything with Procreate started and people did awesome work suddenly on an iPad, and I always liked the idea to be able to draw digitally in the park and have um, everything just on this iPad. And I was, before I got the Cintiq, I was looking for solutions from Wacom, and they had this Wacom Companion or something, but it was like for, I don't know, it was an insane amount of money, which was out of question. Well, then the iPad came along, and I've never been a fan of the iPad. I remember when Apple announced this new product, the iPad, I thought, oh, this is so unnecessary. Who would ever use something like that? So you see what kind of a pioneer I am. And now I use it quite a lot. And so I bought it with directly with the pencil because that was the reason I wanted the iPad. And it was super awesome. But the the screen was just too slick. And at the beginning I didn't use any protector at all because I don't know, I'm not a big screen protector fan, which is quite easy to see when you see my phone's broken screen. But then like the iPad is pretty shitty in terms of the screen. It, like, the moment when you have little sand grains or whatever, it's it scratches quite easily. And after a few weeks with the new iPad, I saw, holy shit, like this screen is completely scratched. Not completely, but I had like a lot of very thin scratches. And I got totally pissed. I thought, how can you sell a product that actually destroys itself? Like, it's not like the pen is third party product and it's not really completely aligned with your product. No, both the pen is an Apple pen. So shouldn't you make sure that your own product isn't just like scratching your products and therefore like causing them harm? So that's why I, from the beginning on, I never thought about a screen protector because I don't know, there are those kind of watches that are. You ever been to those kind, like to a bazaar or something like that, in more oriental countries? They always try to convince you to buy the fake Rolex because they can scratch the glass with a scissor without destroying the glass. So if those guys have it, I suppose, well, Apple, as such an expensive product, should have the same. So apparently it doesn't. So I needed a screen protector. I bought a screen protector which didn't. I didn't hear about the paper like screen protector then, so I bought a normal screen protector. And then afterwards, I was scared to get it off because I thought it may leave the whole screen very sticky. So that's why I waited very, very long to finally do the change to the paper-like surface. And actually, the old or the screen protector that that was on before went off super easily. Like there's no problem at all. There was no glue left on the screen or something like that. So it came off super easily and super clean. So no problem here. Ridiculous. Quite quick, but it's only a little part of the whole illustration. So, and we can go quite loose. That's always good. Mm. Here goes our last drawing for this take. Wow, damn. I just realized that these are still the drawings on fours, so there's still gonna be the same amount of cleanup again as I would like to have it, as not like I tend to do my animations on 2. I think on 4s it's, yeah, you can do that, but I always feel I'm already so deep into it. I should do the in-betweens as well, and then it always looks better afterwards. And when you see the kickflip animation we did with Tentacle Boy, where actually it was the first time I tried to do everything on once, it looks super awesome. I like it a lot. So that was the first time when I figured animating on once is super looks super awesome. But if obviously it's much more time consuming. So let's look at that now. That looks good. Happy with that. I feel when he lands on the plank, he lands a little bit too far on his left side. It should be more centered here. Now, yeah. Let's see if we can tweak that, because this is something that maybe wouldn't be bothering anybody, but if I don't change it, I will watch that video in 1 year and still see that he's not landing correctly. So that's better. Do it the right way. So I wanna lock everything. So if I select this, can I actually move the selection that goes is on more than one layer. So I would like to, from all of those. Oh yeah, okay. So it should land here, right? See? Ah, no. Reset here. It's just a bummer to rotate the canvas in Krita because it feels so complicated to reset it to 0. Okay, now this looks better, but I think we need as well one image before he actually lands on the plank. Should also be this one exactly. Okay, let's see. No. All right. So let's correct this. Our shadow, this is here. And we're gonna add in this area. So I just draw this roughly in without really. I never considered the arms actually when drawing the shadow. There should also, I'm sure that the arms would throw a shadow here, for example. There would be the arm here, but I felt like this is too much going on. I needed the shadow to show the distance that he jumps from the plank, and it definitely create. There has to be a shadow. If not, it wouldn't really fit in the background, the character. But I felt like it's not necessary to draw the arms as well. All right, cool. So we have finished the first shot of the 2. Hey Vladimir, how are you doing? If I use onion skin, yes, I do, and I used to only use onion skin, but I was watching a video of an animator who actually said it's way better to switch between the 2 frames all the time. So you jump forth and back constantly from the frame you're drawing to the previous frame or to the next frame, because then you get an idea of the movement And I tried that, and it works. It is for me. It changed my animation quite a lot because you have much more control, I feel. And the onion skin sometimes is necessary because you have to be sure you position certain elements on the right position, but then always as well switch back and forth. And yeah, try that if you want to do the frame by frame animation. It's pretty cool to do this. All right, all right. So let me see. I would say I'll leave it for today, but I want to show you because the next shot I would like to start on Monday, and I wanted to show you though how it's gonna look like. And I Oh, I thought I have it already rendered out. There's no render yet. One last chance on another. And another folder. Folder is empty. All right. So yeah. No, there is no rendered second shot yet. So we all have to wait until Monday, but I'm telling you, it's looking super awesome because as you maybe saw on the Instagram post where you see the background actually animated in the Instagram post, which is very subtle, just yeah, water. But and I figured, okay, without the character, just having the still life with a little bit of animation, it is quite reduced to a small section of the composition, so it's not very making a lot of noise inside of that. There's no attention. It's not drawing the attention of the viewer, so it definitely works with this guy. But the other shot, as we have the camera below the water surface, like everything we see is gonna be moving, and that's gonna be awesome. And it may help us as well because if you think about like this guy comes from the other side of the water when the camera is inside, we're gonna see the whole time where he's outside the water. We will only see like a very wobbly version of him because of the water distortion of the distortion that's created by the water. And so we basically have to animate only two or three images when he actually enters the water and is like on the same side as the camera, and therefore we're gonna see him a little bit clearer. So I'm gonna show you on Monday how it's gonna look, and I pretty much like it. I like it a lot. I think it's even more interesting than this take, and I can show you a little sneak peek without having been rendered. Opening it, I can show you what I did in After Effects actually to give you a little bit more of an insight. What's happened here outside of the frame by frame part. So this is After Effects if you're not familiar with the software. So here's our shot. And you see what I did here? I just got rid of the plank here because this is the only part that's animated in the shot. And this here is completely created in After Effects. As well, this ball here. Where's the ball? Ball. Don't know where the ball is. Here is the ball. Okay. So the part that's inside the water is in another composition. It's here. You can enter that composition here. And I basically generated everything in After Effects with shape layers, but I used the tiles from our drawing. So when I created the layers inside of Krita, I already had in mind how I'm gonna need those layers separated from each other in order to make it work afterwards in After Effects. So that's, I always try to when I start a project, and this one, there was a certain point when I knew, okay, I think I'm gonna add new stuff in After Effects. So I normally tend to then pause a second and really think about the project and the how do you call it? Let's say like the logistic part of the project, and really think about which layers have to be separated afterwards, because I need to access those layers and be as flexible as possible without getting the elements that I don't want to be affected like involved. And so here is, and this is our style frame 2, which I really like it. And I can now show you, if you're not familiar with After Effects, this water surface is killing it a little bit. So I'm trying to make a render preview. Here I already painted in just to see how everything works with the light and the contrast, because I want to make sure that the eye is drawn directly towards the point where we leave on the previous shot, where the character is, and here. So we cut to the other take, to the other shot, and I wanted to make sure that the eye is already, like the viewer doesn't have to orient himself or herself within the shot, because it's very, very quick what's happening in there. So here you see how fast he can render that. The preview, it's very, very slow. But here you see how everything is distorted, and the character is gonna be a little like a tiny moment outside of the water, but as he jumps down, he like the time he jumps down is not very long, because it's free fall. And then we're gonna actually see more details once he enters the water. So that is a sneak preview on what is coming on Monday. And until now, for that shot, we only have the animatics, so we're gonna have to do a little bit more detailed first frame by frame draft before we actually go to a cleanup. But here as well, as you see, there's the cleanup. This is just a silhouette, and now we're gonna have to figure out at what point we're gonna actually see, even outside or on the other side of the water surface, how much details we're gonna see, as the very bright light from the roof gonna create basically just a dark silhouette. Yeah, but that's it so far. And so looking really forward to Monday. And yeah, I would say let's start our weekend. I have to do a little other stuff first, but I wish you a great weekend, and thanks a lot, guys, for joining today and participating and chatting. It's fun, really fun. All right, have a good day, and thanks for the time. Be safe, and see you. Bye bye.